Okay, we are back with another comic book that I am currently reading. So, earlier, maybe 2 months ago, Alien Romulus dropped. And if you follow the channel back then, you know I absolutely loved that movie in every way, shape, or form. It literally just came out on Blu-ray and digital, and I definitely purchased it so I can sit down and watch it again and again and again. One of the things that I was clamoring for was either going to be the official tie-in novel, or if they were going to do anything along the lines of a prequel, which is the events that occurred on Romulus Station before the scavengers from the nearby planet show up and the events of the movie essentially unfold. I am happy to say, and also sad to say, that we got that in the form of, and I'm gonna actually pull up the name of the full name because it is a official tie-in. And when I say official tie-in, I mean it is described as 20th Century Fox Alien Romulus, the definitive prequel to the blockbuster film. And I kind of wish it didn't exist. And the reason why I say that is when you sat down and you watch Alien Romulus, there are a lot of rehashes, story beats that we've received in other Alien films. It's more or less a combination of both the original Alien, where it starts off with the xenomorph basically hunting the crew. It's a lot of claustrophobia. It's a lot of, we have to avoid these things at all costs. And then towards the end, it morphs into Aliens, which is a little bit more of the action blockbuster. We've got the smart rifle type of movie. I love the blending of both of these because both of those two movies sit in the pantheon in my headspace for greatest science fiction films of all time, up there with the original Predator. One of the things I don't like about this comic, and I'm not sure whether or not the person what's the name of the person who wrote this comic? Is his name Zach Thompson? It's a combination of Zach Thompson, Daniel Picciotto, and Yen Nitro. I I have to believe that the people who read this comic had to have watched Dead Space Downfall. Now, if you don't know what Dead Space Downfall is, that is insane. You should definitely go and check it out. And you should also definitely play both Dead Space 1 and 2. You don't need to play 3. 3 doesn't exist. But Dead Space Downfall was essentially the prequel to the events of Dead Space 1, where Dead Space 1 is basically Isaac Clarke arriving at the ship and encountering the necromorphs for the first time, surviving, going planetside, destroying the marker. Dead Space Downfall is the retrieval of the marker initially and things going to absolute shit on the ship before Isaac is able to arrive and show up. That is essentially what we've received in this first chapter. And when I say it is beat for beat, it is beat for beat Dead Space Downfall, where it's essentially scientists recover Thing from the side of the planet. Thing is brought on ship. Security team does not want Thing on ship. Scientists do experiments on ship. Experimentation pisses off the soldier team. Member of soldier team does something really, really fucking dumb. The thing that they were trying to contain is loose now. Soldier team has to team up with one another to eliminate the dangerous threat. Dangerous threat kills all the members of the soldier team. The person that they were relying on to basically send out some type of warning or beacon out there to prevent other people from arriving into this fucked up situation essentially betrays them in some way that leads to the death of the final protagonist of either the movie or the comic. Beat for beat, bar for bar.
He copied my whole fucking flow. Oh, word for word, bar for bar.
Like get Soldier Boy in here, because when I got to the end of this, I was legitimately pissed off because there was a very, very good premise that was initially put in place in the film, where the film felt as though it was saying Weyland Yutani went out into space. They found the xenomorph that had basically cocooned itself in the resin because it was basically in the vacuum and it was trying to do whatever it took to survive. It put itself basically in hibernation. Them cracking it open on the ship was the catalyst that eventually led to the necromorph basically running amok. Because there's even that shot of the necromorph being hung up in the rafters in the traditional film, where I kind of felt as though the design for the necromorph made it seem as though it was way bigger, that it had essentially grown, like it was molting into basically becoming a queen. Doesn't really touch on that in the comics in any shape or form, but in this one, our boy is chunky. He is big, and he is just annihilating everyone left, right, and center until he's essentially taken out in 3 panels. I really wish this was drawn out. Like, I really wish the setup for this first chapter, especially if we're going to be getting more, at least I'm hoping we get more. It would kind of suck that they just did one chapter and they called it a day. There was such rich story that could have been told in this comic. This comic could have set up a tie-in for Prometheus, and also what the hell is the sequel to Prometheus called again? Alien Covenant. And it could have shown that David had sent information back about essentially the black goo, which is what Rook was essentially using and trying to rework from the xenomorph DNA. It kind of makes it seem as though Rook was investigating the xenomorph and discovered something deep within its gene sequence, which kind of throws Alien 4 or Alien Resurrection into just complete and utter fucking chaos, because the scientists on the station hovering over the Earth had xenomorphs that they were experimenting on for months slash years, and they never in any way, shape, or form came across this substance hidden away inside the xenomorph code. I kind of wish there was a connection there between Rook and David, where David was slowly sending back meticulous notes about this compound that could lead to the discovery of what Weyland was essentially looking for. I wish that this chapter was them basically going through the rubble of the Nostromo, investigating LV 426, going to LV 426 and recovering a bunch of the eggs, and then transferring those over to the ship itself. Whereas in this one, it's like, no, we created everything from the xenomorph. The black goo injection that we got later on, we made that from his DNA. The eggs that you see, we reversed engineered that from his blood. And it's like, yeah, you could do that, or you could tie it into the lore of the world. It just doesn't respect the lore that Ridley Scott has essentially set up in both the Alien Covenant Prometheus space, but then that was initially set up and then expanded on by both him and George Cameron with Alien 1 and Aliens and Alien 2. It's a shame because it could have been better. I really felt as though it could have been an absolute fucking banger. It could have been a fantastic way to basically blend and bridge all of these disparate parts that haven't yet come together to coalesce into a solid story that you can be like, okay, I see where that's coming from. Okay, and that connects to that thing over there. And okay, and that connects to that thing down there. It didn't do it. It went for the quick comic book tie-in cash grab money, and that sucks. If they had actually spent time building up the story, it could have been a fantastic prequel that could have stood on its own. It could have introduced a bunch of interesting characters that you could turn around and reintroduce later on down the line as people who survived Romulus Station and were probably also out in space in some way, shape, or form. Or you could even make a situation where, as the characters are going down, escaping from Romulus Station, you had our characters going up towards Romulus Station. Nope, didn't do any of that. Didn't do any of that at all. As a direct result, I once again have to sit here and just wonder, you know, what could have been. But let me know if you're going to be checking out this comic book. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about whether or not the media going forward, especially since we're getting a sequel to Alien Romulus, if the media going forward should do a good job of basically bridging the gap between the different narratives. Let me know. Comment down below. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.